Hello, welcome. My name is Barbara. Welcome to Around the WNBA. Listen. The Fever won. Oh my God. They won. I'm excited. Absolutely. Listen, the score is 79-52. Fever on top. Of course. But check it out. They did so good this evening. I mean, they played basketball. Okay? As you can see, Indiana in the first quarter, okay, 21-13. They set the stage right away. Right away. That they were there and they meant business. Okay? Second quarter, 20-15. Further establishing their dominance on the floor. Okay? And it was a dominance on the floor, offensively and defensively. Absolutely, without a question. Third quarter, 27-11. Further dominance on the court. Right about now, if I'm, the Sky, I'm getting a little bit something, for sure. And then, of course, the fourth quarter, 11-13. So throughout the whole game, Indiana was on top. They had dominated the court. You see, you can tell that they went into that game with some sort of mentality, attitude, dog attitude mentality, that it was going to be their game. And that no matter what, it was going to happen. Because they played differently. As you can see, they played differently. And I'm sure that there's something that happened in the locker room, happened over the period of time that they've been spending together, where they've understood that it's got to be about business. There can't be hesitancy. There can't be, these turnovers. There can't be the same thing that happened the time before, because if it's the same thing, then chances are the same results are going to happen, right? So something jumped off for them that made them hungry to win. And that's a good thing. That's a real good thing. Check this out. Indiana. Mitchell, 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. That's Mitchell. Okay? Howard, 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 assist. McDonald, 12 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Boston, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Hull, 9 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists. Colson, 6 points, 1 rebound, and 3 assists. Bonner, 6 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Dantes, 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Turner, 2 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. And Timpson didn't have any points. She came in only for 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Turner was in there for 6 minutes and 13 seconds. So you have here the Indiana Fever. They were about the business of winning. What I liked here, I got kind of nervous in the beginning because Colson was starting out as point guard. And I was like, okay, here she goes. She's going to prove herself or not, one or the other. One or the other is going to happen. Okay? And she came out, got a bucket. Later on, got another bucket. I was like, good. You see, there's something about healthy competition within the team itself that sparks determination for the players that were slacking, or the players that know that they haven't been doing their best. Because maybe they weren't slacking, but maybe they just weren't, hitting it, you know what I mean? And it was that sort of time that they were just not making buckets. But then somebody else comes on the team who is hungry, who wants to be on a team, whether it be Indiana or another team, who wants to show what she's working with. That brings up the level, right? The level of competition that says, I must do better because I'm not protected. I'm not protected. If I'm not, producing, I might not be here in a couple of weeks or so. Now, Bonner, for that first half, I was like, okay, here we go. Here we go. She was hesitant until she shot, that 3-pointer, she was hesitant. And I'm not sure why, because, why now and not, last season? What happened? But I do know that when people are off, sometimes it's because new space, new surroundings, having to get settled. If they have children, stuff that might be going on with the children, family issues could happen. It could be a whole host of things that could take place that could throw somebody off-centered. And I believe right now she's a little off-centered. Maybe she'll pick it up the next few games. Chicago. Cardosa, 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 0 assists. Allen, 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist. Williams, 7 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. Van Leith, 7 points, 2 rebounds. Westbeld, 5 points, 1 rebound. Reese, 4 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists. Atkins, 4 points, 3 rebounds, and 3 assists. Banham, 4 points and 2 assists. Nurse, 3 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Vandersloot, 2 points. Now, we know that Vandersloot got hurt. Her knee got hurt or something early in the first. So she was out for the rest of the game, which was a benefit to Indiana, of course. Okay, of course. But let me tell you that this team, Chicago, they're better than they were last season, I believe, because some of the tension is not there that was there last season. And I think that players are feeling much more freer and happy together. And I think that the Indiana Fever tonight did a great job, an excellent job, of stopping Cardosa and stopping Reese in the paint. There were turnovers, because every time you turn the ball over, that's a chance for the opposite team to get some buckets that they weren't planning on having. Mitchell was on point. She wasn't hesitant. She was as quick as a rabbit, doing her quickness around the court, and getting buckets. McDonald, who not only was a point guard, but you know what I noticed? Let me just step back for a second. You know what I noticed? That in the game, because she had a low assist, had 2 assists, right? Okay, right? When I watched the game, it wasn't because she wasn't trying to assist people. She would shoot it to the person who she thought was going to get the bucket. Okay, this happened on a few occasions. Now, there were other times when she was just, giving up the ball so it could be passed around. That was happening, right? But there were times when she was giving the person the ball who was supposed to take the shot. And those people passed it and were somewhat hesitant. Okay? That's what I noticed. So her assists would have been up higher if those folks had taken the shot and actually made the shot. I think any team would be lucky to have her. as a point guard or backup point guard, spot on. All right. She's resilient. She's tough. She can stand her ground. She's got good balance. A couple times she was almost teetering to go out of bounds, but actually was teetering right there on one foot and got the ball in to somebody else. She's playing like there's no tomorrow. So I appreciate that about her. Definitely appreciate that. And I appreciate the fact that Colson's stepping up now. I don't know how long that's going to continue, but she's stepping up. Bonner, I don't know what's going to go on with her because she is not doing what she needs to be doing. Howard stepped up. Okay. You know, there was some times with Indiana where there was lack of communication, I could tell. So that's something they have to improve upon, the communication on the floor. So they'll know the ball's coming to me, so I better take it and get a bucket. And I think the coach that was standing in for White, I think he did a good job. If he had anything to do with what happened tonight in terms of their play, he was spot on. And maybe should be, getting more involved if he hasn't been already. If he had anything to do with the play tonight, like what they were doing tonight. So I don't know about you. I don't know what your thoughts are about what happened in tonight's game. But I think it was telling for the naysayers about the Fever in terms of Clark being on, out because of injury, Cunningham being out because of injury, and people thinking, well, are the Fever going to get it together? Are they going to rise to the occasion, or what are they going to do? They get all these new people, and they have this new woman coming in, McDonald, and what she's going to do, whatever. And they've actually made a statement in saying by their play tonight that they are still at the core basketball players who know how to give good defense and hit the bucket and know how to perform and produce on the court, basically. And they weren't even at home. They were at, someone else, another place. So the key thing here is that you have to have the mentality that no matter where you are, that court is yours. No matter where you are, you rule that place. If you don't come in there with that kind of attitude and confidence within yourself, then I don't know what's going to happen. But you got to go in there and take the buckets. You got to go in there and take the floor. You got to go in there and get that rebound. You got to go in there and hustle for what is yours. If you don't have that hustle, then, I really don't know what's going to happen. Do you? When they're on the court? So I do think that they did a great job this evening. And I hope that Stephanie White is well and her family's well. I don't know if that's anything to do with what's going on with her, but whenever they say personal, I'm already assuming that it's having to do with family to some degree or not, somehow. Indiana, they did the thing tonight. The Sky, they tried. But what the Sky understood is that when you come up against Indiana, you got to come up against them being prepared. You better be ready to run the floor. Okay, because they were up and down. They were so you better be ready to run the floor and ready to defend your territory, ready to do what you have to do in order to win the game. And if you can't win the game, they'll take it from you, and that's what the Fever did. They took it. So, that being said, let me know what your thoughts are about the game. Did you watch it? What do you think about how the rotation of the roster went in terms of Colson starting and then, McDonald coming in, and they were sort of switching back and forth. And one time they were on the floor together. That worked out, pretty good. So what are your thoughts about all that? I think it worked out well. The only issue I had is that Timpson only went in, at the end. I wish that would have been different. But I'm thinking that I don't know if it was the coach's plan tonight or whether White had something to do with this plan or whatever. But I believe there must have been a plan where they're checking out what's going on. They're checking out what's Bonner doing because she didn't start. And she didn't start for a reason. Okay, what's Bonner doing? What they checked out like in terms of what is she doing on the court? Is she gonna like do something different? Is the old Bonner gonna like step up and start functioning and producing, or is it gonna be the same old, right? So I think that they were looking and seeing who was gonna do what. What was Colson gonna do? Was she gonna step up? What was gonna happen when McDonald and Colson were on the floor together? What was gonna happen when um, you know Kelsey wasn't on the floor? All right. Uh, and the only problem I had, like I said, was the fact that Timpson had only 3 minutes at the end of the game, and it didn't give him much time to do much of anything. And I think that should give her more time. But that's just me. I don't know why she's not, on the floor. I mean, I can't speak for that. I'm only guessing, like we all are guessing, unless we're in the locker room and talking to the coaches. We all are guessing. But I'm thinking that they might want her to just have more time learning the schemes, learning each other, and just sort of gradually get her involved, knowing they're going to keep her, this is like long-term relationship, with them and her. And like this, so there's no hurry for her. That's my only thought, like as to why. Perhaps she's not producing during practice. Perhaps there are other things that we don't know about, and I'm sure that there are other things that we don't know about in the locker room, coaching with the coaching staff, what have you. There's always something that we don't know about. If you like this content, hey, subscribe. Just subscribe. If you've been watching my videos and listening to what, how I'm talking to you about the games or whatever, or my thoughts about different things, hey, just subscribe. I'll appreciate that. And give me a thumbs up, because that's helpful. And press the bell so that you'll know when new content arrives. Okay? This is Barbara, around the WNBA. Until next time.